Anyone's girlfriend? They do. Dating is normal in America. Dating first graders are normal in America. Josh loves Samantha. It's all good here. You know? So your kids are exposed to that very early on, but you need to be able to have that conversation and remove the mystery from it and be able to let them know that they can talk to you about those feelings. And it's okay. And actually you've got a new challenge now. We've got a new challenge. We have to make sure, on the one hand, our parents are supposed to talk to our boys especially, you know, it's okay if you think a girl is pretty. Allah put those feelings in you. And actually it's okay to actually talk about that, because now there's another message about having feelings about you know what. So we actually have to counter that. I'm not kidding. Children are being exposed to this stuff. So, you know, and this conversation needs to happen by the parents. You know, this is part of the furujihim hafidun. You know, that you know, men think women are pretty. And you know, Allah put that feeling in us, but we have to work with that and we have to control it. And here's how Allah wants us to deal with it. And those feelings, I know, will be very strong in you. You have to have that really tough conversation. And you have to have it not once, but many times. Many times. You have to put your kids on the spot all the time. Hey, so, what's going on in school? Huh? So who are the girls in your class? Which one is pretty? There's no pretty girls. Really? Nobody's pretty? They're all ugly? Well, there's... It says ledge without overwhelming him. That's all it says. This is an online question?
Random.
Cool question. A sister wants to do da'wah work. Oh my God. And attend Islamic, it's okay. And attend Islamic events on a regular basis. But her parents do not allow this. Instead, her parents want her daughter to earn more, pursue a career, and maybe in the future participate in volunteering. The daughter wants to do both at once because being at home and not involved in the da'wah work is affecting her iman. What can she do? That's obviously not the sister that's asking, that's her friend. What can she do? We all know it's you, sister. Navigate it. Cut it down a little bit. Don't attend every event that's out there. Don't be a drill sergeant about that. Just spend a little extra time with your parents. You know, most of the time when you talk to your parents, don't think that you're on dawah core, which means every time you talk to your parents, you have to talk about the akhirah. And you have to bring up, you know, al-a'mal as-salihah, etc., etc. No. When you talk to your parents, talk about your career. Because they love hearing about it, right? So make them happy. Say, you know, I think I'm getting a promotion. Oh, this is happening at work and that's happening at work. Even if you talk to them about work, even if you don't find it, you know, soul-filling, they'll be so happy that you're worried about your career and you're advancing in it and things like that. Come on, be a little more tactful. And you, again, don't attend every event out there. Just attend, you know, a lesser amount, inshallah. I chat 24/7, and I want to pray, but I don't want to get off the laptop. Can you tell me what to do? Can you spell the what like a person who's on the laptop 24/7? W-U-T. What to do? What to do? What is that? But anyway, I guess I could chat with you. Because if I tell you now, I don't know if you're gonna hear it. But anyway, oh, Facebook, you all talking? Okay. Yeah, no, just get off. People like that, you should just have a Facebook fast and online fast. Just get off the computer for a whole week. Experience life again. You know, because it's really sad. People become really socially awkward and they don't know how to carry normal human interaction anymore because they're addicted to online stuff. Taking pictures are haram, they're not haram. Okay, we got all the opinions here. Are there ways to prevent yourselves from doing haram things? Yeah, there are. Don't be alone, be in better company. If your friends are the ones that encourage you to do those kinds of things, find better friends. spend as much time in good places. Good places could be, for guys, it doesn't have to be the masjid. You just play basketball or something. Just keep yourself busy with good stuff. Even if it's not Islamic stuff, it's not bad stuff. You know? Just keep yourself busy. And I think sports are a really good outlet, personally. Sometimes I forget how many rakat I made. Read a lot of Quran, and that's extra waswasa from shaitan. So just make sure you're staying wudu, especially, and make sure your clothes are clean. Those are spiritual ailments for people that forget the rakat and stuff. Can I have your phone number? I have a sensitive problem. Oh, a sensitive problem. Okay, well, no, I can't give you my phone number. It's public domain, though. You can Google it, I guess. But if it's that sensitive, you should probably be talking to a counselor in all seriousness.
Was that you?
The ruling on delaying salat while traveling, very good. I like your beard.
Subhanallah.
Squiggle. That's awesome. What's your course's website? It's bayina.tv. What are ways to bring loved ones towards the understanding and acting upon Islam when we know they simply lack interest and are lazy towards Islam? Be really patient with loved ones. I'm telling you from personal experience. You have to work with loved ones very, very cautiously. And they will they'll take their sweet time coming towards Deen. You didn't come to Deen because you're a great person. You came to Deen, I came to Deen because Allah dropped a blessing on us. We would have been the kinds of people who don't care about Islam either. So the little we do care about Islam is a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, not our own accomplishment. Okay? So Allah guides whoever He wants, and you're not responsible for changing your family. What you continue to give them is your love, your respect, and they should see that your Islam has made you better towards them, not worse. It's your Islam that's made you a better son, a better husband, a better father, a better brother, etc., etc. And slowly their hearts are going to start getting softer and softer. The more you try to preach to them, the farther away they'll go. And the more frustrated you'll get. And they'll just, they won't want to talk to you because you're not talking to them as a brother or a husband or a wife or a son or a daughter or, you're talking to them as a preacher, as a da'i, as a speaker. It doesn't work. It simply does not work, And there are people in my family I would love to do da'wah to, but my da'wah to them for years has been, I just stay in touch with them. And I help them whenever I can. And then they end up calling me for, hey, what's the dua for this? Or I'm trying to do this. Or we're about to have a baby, what should I do? And then I slip in things like, hey, are you praying 5 times a day? No, you really should be because you're having a baby. Okay, I'll do that. And then, so you won't preach it, but if the opportunity comes up, you slip in a little something, So that's how you have to do it. كيف السبيل إلى خشية الله ومراقبته وما هي أفضل الطرق لحفظ كتاب الله بارك الله فيكم أفضل طريق لحفظ كتاب الله أن تحفظوه صباحا قبل الفجر هذا ما أرشحه أنا باقتراحي أنا sorry okay so the best way to memorize Quran is to before Fajr in my opinion. Before Fajr is juicy, your mind is open, nothing is clear, and you get good review done. And most of it's muraja'ah anyway, so that's the best time in my opinion. Now the path to developing fear of Allah and becoming more cautious of Allah, that's the question. How do you develop that path? Really I don't have the answer to that question. We all have our own struggles and our own challenges. We just have to become more and more, I personally believe if we have good solid attention and courtesy given to every salah, the khushu' and the khashiyah of Allah will come. أنا طالبة جامعية وعند التعامل مع أساتذة لا أستطيع أن أحفظ بصري وفي معظم الأحيان أوكي I can't lower my eyes when I'm interacting with teachers and it creates an awkward situation, she asks in Arabic. Yeah, that is a tough situation. I would ask a faqih about that because that's really a ruling issue. It's a ruling issue, how, the interaction between student and teacher. But I can tell you what I personally do. If a sister asks a question, and it requires that I make eye contact, I do. That's what I do. I know there's the ruling, and I've talked to ulama about this. That's me personally, I'm not imposing anything on you, it's not a fatwa. But me, in the job that I have as a teacher, sometimes I have to demonstrate things and make sure the student understands. And if I don't stop, and the student looks like this. If the sister looks like that, then I know she didn't get it. I can't lower my gaze and say, sister, it works like this. The mudaf is like this, and she's like, it's not gonna work. It's not, hey, what are you doing? Pay attention. I'm telling you something right now. Sorry, Ustad. And they listen. So there are situations where, it's necessary, and I believe there are ulama that have some leeway in that scenario. There are general guidelines in our deen, and then there are specific circumstances where there may be exceptions, but then again, you should speak to a faqih about that in detail. How do you hold on to being dedicated to salah? I find myself wanting to, but I can't. Can I keep that dedication and responsibility? How do you become patient? Any specific surahs that speak about patience? I talked about patience yesterday. Just become more grateful, you'll become patient. As far as becoming more dedicated to salah, you can't just say I want to, because that's not enough. That doesn't mean you want to. You have to really, really want it. You have to really, I believe studying things like the importance of salah gets somebody in order. Maybe you haven't studied what makes it important. Maybe you haven't studied how Allah talks about salah. Because if you just study how Allah talks about salah, that's enough for somebody to say, you know what, I better take it seriously. One of my favorite examples of the importance of salah, I might as well share with you. It is stellar. Musa alayhi salam climbs up a mountain, is not expecting anything but a bunch of people around a fire that might give him some directions. And he ends up talking to who? Allah. He ends up talking to Allah. Can you imagine a man on top of a mountain? A historical event for humanity. A man on top of a mountain talking to Allah. And what's the first thing Allah says to him? Innani an Allah, after telling him to take his shoes off. Interestingly, right? Take his shoes off. Innani an Allah, la ilaha illa ana, fa'budni wa aqim as-salata li dhikri. I am Allah, no one is to be worshipped or obeyed in any way, shape or form besides myself. So be my slave and establish prayer to remember me. Allah tells Musa alayhi salam when he speaks to him personally, aqim as-salat. And then he adds, not just aqim as-salat, he says aqim as-salata li dhikri, so you can remember me. You tell me, if there's any human being on the face of this earth who will never forget Allah, I would say it's Musa alayhi salam. Why? Because he personally spoke to him. He personally spoke to him. If there's one human being that will not forget, it's Musa alayhi salam. I've talked about this before. You talk to somebody famous, do you ever forget? If you get a chance to speak, I got a chance to speak to a great scholar. I got to speak to Sheikh Akram Nadwi. I had the honor of being at his house. I can never forget. I remember every word he said. Every word he said. Because he's one of the great muhaddithun of the ummah today. He's a great alim. I was so honored to be in his company. He's written that 50-volume hadith book about all the female collectors of hadith in Islamic history, al-muhaddithat. 50 volumes. In English. Go figure. And all his other books are in Arabic. The man's no joke. And I'm sitting in his living room checking out his bookshelf. Waiting for him to bring biscuits and stuff. In Oxford. It's awesome. Well, I can't forget. Now imagine Musa alayhi salam talking to who? Allah. He's never going to forget. When you bring him, you know who I talk to? What's he going to bring? You know who I've spoken to? And Allah says, no, that's not really remembering me. Establish prayer so you can remember me. My God. That's salat. That's the ultimate dhikr, even for the man who spoke with Allah directly. How can I be a good example for my little sister? Share stuff with her, be nice to her, don't tell on her, protect her, help her with her homework. When she's taking your stuff, don't flip out. You let her borrow some of your clothes. When she comes and wants to hang out with your friends, let her hang out with your friends. When you speak to your mom about her, say good things about her. And when she did something bad to you, don't complain to your mother about it, and don't say, you know what Huda did? Huda did. Don't do that. Actually back her up. And if she complains about you, then just take it and don't defend yourself. And go say sorry to her in front of her, and she will love you. And if not, she will hate you. Yeah. My parents are against women. No, sorry. No, sorry. My parents are against women going to the masjid. And tells me to be Muslim secretly. But I would rather go to the masjid because I feel like I'm more positive. I'm in a more positive community, and there are people with less than a minute ego follow. What is that? Is that English? Okay. Look, the parent thing is always going to be a challenge. And we really need, the Ummah really needs the parent versus child discussion. Because we only have lectures about the rights of parents, or we have lectures about the rights of children, but we don't actually have lectures and discussions about real situations that people are going through, and really talking them out. And even though Allah has given, in the Quran, Allah has given amazing, amazing rights to parents. Unbelievable how many rights Allah has given parents. But Allah did not give those rights to parents as weapons for parents to use against their children. That is a crime, parents. Allah gave you those ayat so you can apply them to your parents, not to your children. You do not quote the ayat وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا to your children. You quote them to yourself, so you take care of your parents. Every time there are ayat about rights, they are not on the mustahiq. It's not the person who deserves them that uses those ayat. It's the person who owes them. Or the person who owes them who uses those ayat. But unfortunately, in the Muslim culture, because we glorify the rights of parents so much, unfortunately, parents themselves have they have been taking advantage of that position and really being psychologically, emotionally abusive. They really abuse that role. And it's not right. Allah did not say you are absolutely right in everything you do. Allah did not say that for any human being. You're not. And you cannot just use that, the honor, and your child will honor you, and you, children, me and you, whether our parents are right or not, we have to honor them regardless. And the only time we're going to disobey them is when obviously some harm will come or something against our deen will come. We have to disobey them in that case. Because obedience to Allah comes first. But that does not mean that in Islam you do not have the right to have a reasonable conversation with your parents. And I do mean reasonable conversation. Angels asked Allah about the creation of Adam. Didn't they? Yes. You're creating someone who's going to spill blood? When you read it like that, it sounds disrespectful, doesn't it? Angels are asking Allah Azza wa Jal, why are you making this creature? But you know what? Their tone is respectful. And they have the right to ask something they don't understand. It doesn't make sense to them. That is not disobedience, it's not disrespect. And that is angels to the Creator. They have a right to ask. How does a child not have a right to ask his parents? This doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. You can have that conversation with your parents, but you have to maintain the ultimate respect. And you cannot lose your cool. They, however, will lose their cool. They will. And they will be abusive. And they will say very, very mean things. And they'll say, oh, so you can question me now? Why don't you become the parent? And they'll remind you of all the things you've done in your life and what they did for you and how this happened and that happened, and they'll make you feel like scum. And at the end of it all, you will massage their feet and you will ask the same question again, but Mama, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I love you, but it doesn't make sense. Tell her, what to leave. And that's fine. And you'll say again, Mom, I love you. But it still doesn't make sense. I know I'm Battami, slap me some more, but please tell me why this doesn't make any sense to me. You can have reasonable conversation with your parents. And parents, be ready for that. You can't be quoting the Quran when you're not even asking, you're asking them to do un-Islamic things and then say, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You know, how many parents asking their girls to not wear hijab? So many. So many. Take it off. What are you looking like that for? Nobody's going to marry you looking like that. Islam says you should blend in. They tell you, Islam says you should blend. And you're like, where does Islam say that? Be respectful. Oh, you're going to teach Islam now? Oh, did you put this thing on? You're a sheikha now? You know, you're a alima? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't ask you anything. No, do whatever you want then. Go, do whatever you want. And then you feel like terrible. But you should act dumb when that happens. When they say, do whatever you want, say, thank you, mother. I love you. Learn to take those tense situations and lighten them up. I'm telling you from experience, okay? Every one of us are going to have challenge with our parents. We're just in that age, in the era where parents were raised in a very different world than you were raised in, and the world is changing so fast that miscommunication and misunderstandings are going to happen. But at the end of the day, they still love you. No matter what they've done, they still have some weird way of showing that love, and maybe it's a way that you don't understand. And you say, how could that be love? But it is. But you have to maintain, a respectful relationship, a moderate relationship with them. But there has to now begin to happen some serious respect, mutual negotiation, especially about the subject of marriage. Boys in the audience here, start talking to your parents about marriage. What age do you think I should get married? Your mom will slap you the first 10 times you bring it up. The 11th, 12th time, you can start talking. Talk to your dad about it. Don't talk to your mom about it. Because according to your mom, no girl on the earth is good enough for you. She will sabotage every proposal that comes your way. No, her nose. The right nostril was bigger than the left nostril. I didn't like it. Nobody's going to be good enough for you. They say, my favorite expression in Arabic, they say, Al-qirdu fi ayni ummihi ghazal. Al-qirdu fi ayni ummihi ghazal. They say, in the eyes of the mother, even the monkey looks like a gazelle. So, to your mother, you're a gazelle. You are this exotic creature. To everyone else, you're a gorilla. But talk to your dad about marriage, yeah. And have a reasonable conversation. Your dad he'll relate, because he went through what you're going through. He can relate. In high school, I had a point in my life where I experienced an Islam high. I hope that's the only high you experience, my friend. I can't find a way to reach that level of faith. No matter how many lectures I attend, how many hours I pray, what is wrong with me? How do I relight the fire? Okay, that's a good question. There are spiritual highs in our life, and they come and they go and they disappear. My recommendation for missing that time, sometimes we're never able to bring it back and we long for it. And I personally feel like that. I felt like I was a lot more spiritual when I was in college. I personally feel like that I'm a lot less spiritual now than I was in college. But probably the reason for that is I was a lot less busy and I just have a lot more time for ibadah. So even if I do ibadah now, other things are on my mind more. When I did ibadah then, only ibadah was on my mind, right? So that may have something to do with it. But increasing recitation of Quran, conscious recitation of Quran, is a very good way of rekindling that fire in Iman. How can you give da'wah to your girlfriends? Or encourage them to be more religious without offending or losing them? The sister asked. I'm assuming. So sister, you can encourage your girlfriends to be more religious just by being a good friend and just reminding them of Allah's favors, things that soften the heart. The do's and don'ts come eventually. Don't be the Sharia police with your friends, because that just doesn't last. Also, if you have a large company of friends that aren't obedient to Allah, you should probably find better company. What do you think MSAs lack? Yeah. I should concentrate on. MSAs lack. Oh boy. Yeah, they do lack members. MSA lacks, in my opinion, no, organization is fine. It lacks the understanding of what it is. You're not Islam on campus. You're a place where Muslims feel comfortable coming. And if the opportunity presents itself, you can also teach something about Islam, or have somebody come and teach something about Islam. But more important than anything else, it's a spiritual and socially safe place for Muslims to be. And you have to recognize the fact that there are all kinds of Muslims. It's not like the masjid. There are all kinds of Muslims. There are Muslims that don't pray at all. There are Muslims that, there are girls that don't even look Muslim, but they're Muslims. There are guys that have all kinds of lifestyle, but they're Muslim. And maybe the only exposure they'll ever get to Islam is the MSA. I was one of those guys. And if my MSA was like some of your MSAs nowadays, that look at a guy that's not religious and they just scoff at him and like, what's this guy doing here? Then I probably would never even come back towards Islam. Right? So the MSA is supposed to be a place where you respect people for who they are. You don't tolerate the wrong thing. You don't make it right. You don't say what you're doing is right, but you don't condemn people for the place they are in. This is a difficult time for the Ummah. A lot of people are very far from Islam. You don't want to push them further away. So it is a difficult challenge for the MSA, and you don't be frustrated with people, MSA presidents, and secretaries and treasurers. Don't be disappointed with people. Just do your part, and that's it. And it's a good training for you to learn to be shepherds, because you have to deal with all kinds of personalities and all kinds of weird, insensible things at the MSA. And that's okay. You learn, you do whatever you can. You'll never be able to please everyone. Just do a good job and be genuine to yourself, inshallah ta'ala, and that's all that you can do. Can you highlight or give some insight on females gaining knowledge in this deen by traveling from home? I continuously hear men in my family telling me not to even consider it because it's beyond my role as a girl. I don't believe that personally. Again, it's a fiqh issue, so you should consult ulama about this issue, about females traveling and stuff. But what's to say you can't take it's not a cut and dry thing. For example, your mahram travels with you and you're living among other sisters, and then your mahram comes back, and when you have to travel, he travels back with you. So there's more gray than there's black and white in this sort of thing, right? The other thing also is, alhamdulillah, in our campus at Bayina, there are about 60 students every year. 30 of them are brothers and 30 of them are sisters. And a good maybe 30% of the sisters are married and their husbands are also in the program. But a good number of sisters are actually from out of state that come and they live with each other in apartments. Their parents, of course, bring them, and they live and they make sure that their housing is safe and they're taken care of, etc., etc. But then they live among each other, and they have their own little sisters community that comes. And I mean, before I approved of that myself, I consulted ulama that I personally trust, like Sheikh Abdul Nasir and even Sheikh Umar Suleiman, other scholars, and they had no problem with it, and that's good enough for me. Inshallah ta'ala. But I mean, parents not bringing it up, somebody's baby's crying. Take care of him. Take a walk, he's too hot, he's tired. Oh, he's sleep talking. Don't laugh, come on, this kid's been sitting there forever. It's so boring. Yeah. So, but sisters seeking knowledge, your parents have reservations and they have a right to. It's a bad world out there. So, I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, I would think twice about sending my own daughter somewhere to study. I'm not going to lie. It's not an easy decision, and I commend the parents who make that decision. We're trying to make it as easy for them as possible to make that decision, but that doesn't make it an easy decision, sending your daughter away from home. It's a very hard decision, especially for an average Muslim family. It's very, very difficult. There's the last one, right? What advice can you give to the brothers who are struggling to pay for the bills and they drink because they're depressed? What kind of advice can you give to someone who drinks and has bad habits? Yeah, drinking is a common problem now. You wouldn't believe it, but drinking is a common problem among Muslim men now. And, obviously, the Muslim who does it already knows it's haram. And at the beginning, the Muslim feels bad when he does it. And then later on he says, but no, the Quran just says wine and I'm just having beer. So he starts making, other excuses. And then he comes up with another one. Quran just says that, you shouldn't drink when, if it intoxicates you, but it doesn't have an effect on you. Well, the fact that you're saying that is actually pretty good proof that you're drunk out of your mind. So people go through phases like that, but usually the cause of it is something, it's not the taste of alcohol, it's escape from reality and depression. And for that, you really have to see a counselor. You really have to see a counselor. And you have to remember that Allah will forgive this sin. This is a major sin. It's not a light sin. It's a major, major haram in our religion. But Allah, you're not beyond forgiveness. And it's not like you can't recuperate from this. But you have to make that decision for yourself. Okay, I can take a couple more. What's that word? You have horrible handwriting. You can't tell, can you? Mentos?
Oh.
Okay. Alright, so as I leave you guys, I'll give you something beneficial, inshallah, for myself and for all of you. I'll give you at least one of my favorite du'as. One of my favorite du'as of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a really cool story behind this du'a for me too. I took a couple of books of du'a on the day of Arafah for Hajj, and I went through all of them. I just sat the entire day and just made du'a. It was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing. And there are some du'as that just hit me like really hard. And I made them like 1,000 times. The same dua. And I didn't see anybody that I knew in our group, our Hajj group leader was Sheikh Umar Sulaiman, who I love to death. And even though he's really tall and scary looking. But anyway, so after we were done with the Yawm al-Arafah, he came over and he said, "So what was your favorite dua?" And I was like, "I'm not going to tell you, you tell me." So I was like, "Okay, let's say it together. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And we said the same dua. It was awesome. It was awesome. So what's the dua? I forgot. It's actually, Allahumma arzuqni rizqan tayyiban. Oh Allah, give me good, clean, pure rizq. Okay? First of all, provide me good, clean, pure rizq. وعملا وعلما نافعا. And give me beneficial knowledge. وعملا متقبلا. And give me actions that are accepted by you. 3 things. Give me good rizq, give me beneficial knowledge, and gift me with deeds that you accept. That's all we can ask for in this life. It covers everything. At the end of the day, if we have good rizq, then everything we spend it on and we use it for, it will have barakah in it. The knowledge that we acquire, so long as it's beneficial, so long as what we acquire is, what does it mean, nafi'? يعني يجعلك مؤمنا أكثر. It'll make you a better, or أحسن, it'll make you a better believer. Right? علما نافعا. And what should happen after knowledge? But not just any action, so beautiful, so prophetic. عملا متقبلا. Action that is accepted by Allah. You gift me with action that you will accept, Ya Rabbi. So اللهم ارزقني رزقا طيبا وعلما نافعا وعملا متقبلا. I'm going to ask all of you guys to make this dua with me. I'll break it up for you so you can repeat it with me, and we'll conclude today's session, okay? Allahumma arzuqni rizqan tayyiban wa ilman nafi'an wa amalan mutaqabbalan. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you so much.